What's up, YouTube? Today I saw a video that really pissed me off, and it pissed me off for a number of reasons, one of which is because I am a police officer's wife. What happened was in Salt Lake City, an officer was trying to get a nurse to draw blood on somebody that was admitted to the hospital. The patient was unconscious. He was not under arrest, and the officer did not have a warrant for a blood draw. In 2016, at some point, a case went to the Supreme Court, and it was ruled that blood draws were not constitutional unless certain requirements were met. I'm going to show you the video, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing because it's really long.
It says obtaining blood samples for police enforcement from patients suspected to be under the influence. Okay? This was something that you guys agreed to with this hospital. The three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest. And neither of those things, the patient can't consent. He told me repeatedly that he doesn't have a warrant, and the patient is not under arrest. So I'm just trying to do what I'm supposed to do. That's all. So.
Okay, so I take it without those in place, I'm not going to get blood. Is that? Am I fair to surmise that?
Alex, you're not representing the person in the hospital. You're just. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea why he's blaming me. I'm just representing. Why are you blaming the messenger?
She's the one that has told me no.
Yeah, but sir, you're making a huge mistake right now. You're making a huge mistake because you're threatening a person.
Okay.
Oh, please.
No, we're done.
No,
we're done. You're under arrest.
Hey.
We're done.
Sir, I had administrative planning. Hey!
Seriously. Hey. Hey. Hey.
You're insulting me! Stop! Stop! I've done nothing wrong! I have administrative.
I'll hold your phone.
I've done nothing wrong! Take my phone! I haven't been
Hey.
This is crazy!
This particular officer was a senior officer, and he was a member of the blood draw unit. So if this officer, as a senior officer and as one who's on this particular unit, does not know about this Supreme Court law that came down, how is he even functioning in this unit? Like, it just would blow my mind that he is that naive to the law that pertains to his particular unit. In my opinion, she was professional, she was calm, she was explaining why she could not draw the blood, and at one point the officer just turned his tactics and forcefully arrested her. And it was so disturbing to watch. Officers would say, well, based off of our experience, we do not tell people that we are going to put them under arrest because you don't know how they're going to act. And a lot of times what they do is they will resist arrest. When people make that argument, you're lumping certain types of criminals who resist arrest with decent, regular people who would probably comply to put their hands behind their back. She wasn't harming anyone. Nobody was, being harmed by this woman's actions. And the officer should have, in my opinion, and my opinion counts because I'm the wife of a police officer, and I'm also a member of a community with a police force. And I do not want to see my husband doing this to a woman or anyone, even a man, in this same situation if it had been a man. I don't want to see him acting that way to somebody, and I don't want to see any officer acting that way to anybody in my community. I have a lot of respect for nurses. My sister is a nurse, and she goes to work every day, and she does her job, and if someone treated her this way, I would be encouraging her to open a lawsuit, because one of the main ways that you can communicate to a department that they are doing wrong in the community is to hit them where it hurts, and that would be their pocketbook. And also to make sure that anybody above them, whether it's administrative staff or anything like that, that if they're aware of these types of behaviors going on, that they intervene and correct them. The one thing in the video that I did see that was encouraging was when the officer was arresting the woman and he was putting handcuffs on her. Another officer came up and, like, you know, kind of patted him on the back. I don't think he felt comfortable with the way the deputy was handling this nurse, who really was just following law, following the Constitution, and standing up for the patient, which ultimately that is her job, is to take care of her patient who is unconscious. If you can't trust an officer, who do you trust? You can't really say it's a need for de-escalation, because there was no escalation other than the officer arresting the woman. This nurse was completely calm, professional. The only person who was out of control here was, in fact, the officer. He does not need to be on the streets engaging with the public if that's the way that he's going to act. It's embarrassing. I feel like my job as a wife is to tell my husband what I feel and how I would want to be treated in this particular situation. And I know that a lot of times I see things differently than other police wives. And that's fine. I'm totally open to other people's perspectives, but I am a member of the community and I'm served by the police department. And I'm also married. And in a regular married role, you should give guidance to your husband. It shouldn't be that your husband tells you how things are. This is not 1950. It's, you know, the 21st century. I do want to know what you think. And I want to know what you think as police officers, as wives of police officers, or as the general public, because, you know, it's important to get everyone's perspective. And it's not just the cops' side here. You can't, as a wife or as a supporter of police officers, you should not always take the cops' side, because you're not doing them any service. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. Totally okay. I am putting my opinion out there because I think it's important to support the police, but also to recognize that they're not infallible. I would have liked to have seen the other officers intervene. And I don't know how we get to a point in the departments where an officer can, at the time, step in and say, you know, you're out. Basically cry, uncle. And that really needed to happen here. But I don't know that that's the way that the departments are structured right now, because it's so based off of hierarchy and brass. You know, there's a chain of command and you follow it. And this guy is obviously a senior officer, and he's sloppy. He's just sloppy, and it's sad. So, there you go.